Good morning, friends, and welcome back to another vlog. It's a very dreary Friday morning here in New York City. It's sort of drizzling. We had a nice big snowstorm this week, which was so beautiful. I popped in some of that footage to start the vlog. It's much lovelier than the rain and the gray that's happening outside right now. And because the weather is somewhat inclement today, I'm going to be staying in and just sort of doing cozy at-home activities. Valentine's Day is coming up. I make Valentines every year for all of my friends and colleagues. So getting started on those, which will have to go in the mail this year instead. And then I'm also going to be doing some cooking. I'm making lasagna. And I'm also going to be doing chocolate pot de creme. So I will show you my recipes for both of those things. I'm having kind of a crazy hair day. I just shoved my bangs to the side. But no matter, nobody's really going to be seeing me except you guys. So I will catch up with you in a little bit. Okay, I'm just about to start prepping the chocolate pot de creme. I don't know about you guys, but I have been watching a lot of reruns of old cooking shows on YouTube. I kind of have them on in the background while I'm working, and I've been watching Nigella, who I love. I just feel like her approach to cooking is really easy and not too fussy, so I love her recipes. And she was making chocolate pot de creme on one of the episodes I was watching, and I had a bunch of leftover egg yolks from another baking project, so I thought I would use those up. If you're not familiar, a chocolate pot de creme is sort of like this really delicious, moussey, rich chocolate pudding. And it only needs like 5 ingredients or so. So I've got all my ingredients prepped. I've got my egg whites, or sorry, rather my egg yolks. And then I have in here a mixture of heavy cream and regular milk. The recipe calls for whole milk. I didn't have whole milk, I only had 2%, so I've just put a little extra dash of heavy cream to balance that out. And of course you will need chocolate. I'm going to use this Pound Plus 72% cocoa dark chocolate from Trader Joe's. And just a little bit of sugar. It's just about 2 tablespoons or so of sugar. I'm halving the recipe. I'm using one from Epicurious, which I will link down below. And then you also need some kind of vessel for your little pot de creme. I have these vintage custard cups. I've got like 4 of them, and I'm going to assume that they are oven safe. You will need an oven safe vessel. You don't need to use individual vessels like I'm using. You can just do one big one. It will impact the baking time a little bit. You'll need to bake it for a little bit longer, but otherwise the recipe will just be exactly the same. And you will also need a larger like casserole or something to create the bain-marie. So a bain-marie is like a water bath. It's the same approach that you would use to cooking any other kind of custard-like dessert, like a creme brulee or something like that. So I'm just using a regular like 8-inch casserole. You need something that is going to be large enough where the water will come up at least halfway on whatever your interior container is. And you cover these, and basically they get like steamed. So the steam is really what is going to cook the pot de creme like very gently and slowly. One thing I would say is if you want to plan to make this dessert, do it the night before or the morning of, because you need your prep time, and then they take about an hour, you know, depending on, again, how big your little custard cups are an hour in the oven, and then they'll need like 2 to 3 hours to chill in the refrigerator. So it is something that you do want to plan to do in advance. Nigella started hers the night before. You can also make the custard the night before and refrigerate them and then bake them the day of, so you can kind of break up the prep on these. So I'm just gonna clip my hair back and get started. I've got the heavy cream and the milk heating over very low heat. You just want to bring this just to a simmer. Be careful, watch it, because milk can boil very quickly. Then I've got my chocolate that I've chopped up. You want to make sure that it's kind of chopped up finely. And also you don't want to use chocolate chips because those have sort of like an encasement around them. You want to make sure that you're using chocolate that you are chopping from a bar. And then in here, I've got my egg yolks and my sugar, which I'm just going to whisk together while the cream is heating. The other thing that I want to mention that you also need for this recipe is a strainer. So some kind of a mesh strainer like this one, because you will, after you mix the cream, the chocolate, the eggs, and the sugar together, you need to strain the mixture into another bowl before you put it into your little ramekins. The cream and the milk are starting to come to temperature. You can see that there are bubbles just starting to form along the surface. So that means that it should be hot enough to melt the chocolate, which is really the only purpose of heating the milk. I've put my chocolate back into this measuring cup and I'm going to add the cream to it and let it melt. You can put the chocolate into the cream here once it's off the heat, but I just don't want to get my little pot all chocolatey. I've just strained the mixture into this bowl and that's what was left behind. I mean, honestly, it's just like a few little chunks of chocolate. So if you wanted to skip that step, I would say you probably could if you'd be okay with just like those few little grains of extra chocolate. And it also says that you're supposed to skim the foam off the top of this after letting it rest for 10 minutes. So I'm going to come back to it and I will see what there is that needs skimming. There does seem to be still some foam remaining, so I will try to skim that off camera. I made a vain attempt to skim. There's the cast off. Honestly, it's pretty finicky. It didn't take me that long, but I don't know that it's really necessary. If my instinct serves, I would say that removing this is likely just going to be more of an appearance issue. I think it would just leave somewhat of a little bit of a bubbly foam on the top, but if you're putting a big old dollop of whipped cream on there, it doesn't really matter. I don't think that the foam affects the flavor at all. It just is an appearance issue, and I'm willing to bet that Nigella skips that step. Okay, it looks like I got 3 little pots de creme, which seems accurate since the recipe was for 6 and I halved it. So I just have to cover them with a little bit of foil, fill this with water, and then they go in the oven at 325 for 55 minutes. got sort of a mishmash of ingredients here. My lasagna noodles, the bolognese that I made previously that's been in the freezer, ricotta, cheeses, some basil to go into the red sauce that I made last night that I'm just bringing back up to a simmer. I didn't use a recipe for this. It's just, you know, typical garlic, onion, can of tomatoes, and some herbs. I put thyme and bay in there, and then I'm going to add this basil. And then here I have some milk that I heated that I brought to basically the same temperature as for the pot de creme, and I'm gonna make a roux. I've got butter in here, 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I have 2 tablespoons of flour. I'm making the roux for the bechamel. So bechamel is the white cream sauce that goes in the lasagna. And so basically it's just butter and flour that creates a roux. You cook this down a little bit, kind of just until before it browns and becomes like a paste, and that's going to thicken your warm milk. I'm extracting this little bundle of thyme because I really like the basil to be the star of the show as far as herbs are concerned. I also removed the bay leaf. I just tie this together with some kitchen twine and let it simmer in there. My flour and butter mixture is bubbling, so it's time to add the milk. And just add like half of it and give it a stir, and then add the other half. The bechamel is starting to thicken nicely. I brought it back up to a boil, and now I'm going to lower the temperature and let it just bubble, and I'm going to stir for about 2 more minutes. I've had the pot de creme in for about an hour now. I had them in for 50 minutes and I checked them and they were not done. So I put them in for another 12 minutes. I've got about another minute to go. So I will check them again and let you know how that went. In here, I've got my ingredients for the ricotta mixture. So it's about 1.5 cups of ricotta, about 1/4 cup of low moisture mozz, 1/4 cup of parm, and an egg, and of course salt and pepper. All right, ready to assemble. I put all of the lasagna noodles in layers with wax paper between. I've got my ricotta mixture, my bolognese, extra cheese. This is the bechamel, which I covered with just a little bit of wax paper so it wouldn't get that skin on it. I also added some fresh grated nutmeg to this because I love nutmeg. And then I've got my red sauce. Because I'm using sort of a small casserole, I cut the lasagna noodles to fit the length, and then the little scraps I just cut in half to put in between the layers. yikes, I am really pushing my luck. I filled this up to the tippity top. I will definitely be baking this on a baking sheet because surely it's going to bubble over the edge, but I wanted to get as much jammed in there as possible. I've got just noodle and a half left. I have some bechamel left, which I'll freeze, and I'll freeze the rest of the sauce too. Hey guys, so I'm about to get started on all of my Valentines. I'll show you some of the things that I use. I buy these pre-cut little hearts from Paper Source. They come in all different colors. They come in non-Valentine-y colors too. So if like, you know, yellow or navy blue is more your vibe, they have them in all the colors. And then I have a bunch of glitter. I have this one from Martha Stewart Crafts. I've got a couple from Martha actually. I've got these sort of pink themed ones too. I've got this one also from Martha that I don't know if you can see, but it's got little hearts actually in the glitter. I really like this one. And I have a bunch of stamps. I have a cute lip stamp. I have a heart. I have this diamond for my friends who are bling 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 or just fans of Bling Empire maybe. I've got stickers. I've got some hearts. These I picked up new this year. They are little like felt hearts. And these I buy all the time from Paper Source. They're like gold glitter hearts, and these are, I feel like, a really fun way to do glitter without, you know, making a mess if that's not your thing. So then I just have some little gemstones too, red ones and clear ones. These I will probably more like use for kids. Then I have these really pretty little trim that are also from Paper Source. They sort of look like lace. So those are really pretty. I like to use those too. They have an adhesive backing on them, so you don't have to glue them or anything. You just peel off the little adhesive backing and put them on, and they kind of have like a romantic Victorian kind of feel. I also use this. I got this at a stamp store in the city. It used to be on 8th Avenue, and then it moved to 7th Avenue. And then I noticed recently that it closed. I think COVID might have closed it. But you can get these glue pads, I'm sure, at like Michael's or something. And you just take a little of this glue and put it on the felt pad. And then it turns your stamps into like sticky stamps so that you can top them with glitter and stuff. They look really cool that way. I like to do the lips with that. And also I have a gold glitter embossing powder. This works exactly the same way as the glitter. I use the glue pad, but then if you apply heat, it turns it into like a raised, embossed image on the Valentine, which is really cute. I don't have a special embossing gun. I just use my hairdryer. And it works just fine. And it's kind of fun to watch it go from like a powder to like bubbling up to becoming like a liquid metallic, sort of that alchemy going on. It's fun to watch. So I'm going to get started. I've got many, many Valentines to make.
One helpful little hint I would offer when working with glitter is to do it on some kind of a surface. I like to use a fragrance ad from the magazine. That way I can just sort of tilt all of the extra glitter into the little funnel here and put it back in the jar. Okay, I think that's gonna do it for the Valentine's for today. It's only 4:30, but it's already starting to get kind of dark. So I'm gonna stop for today, but I will show you the ones that I made so far. I made about a dozen. They are a mix of glitter, embossing powder, stickers, this little trim. This little trim is so great. I love it so much. I bought it a couple of times. I usually wait till it goes on sale after Valentine's Day to buy it. But I have bought it a couple of times and I really love it. I feel like it looks really impressive without a whole lot of effort. So you get like a really nice result from just cutting it and peeling off the backing and sticking it. I will say that the backing on the smaller trim is a little tricky to separate, so tweezers come in handy, but I will show you the ones I've made so far. I still have to emboss a couple of them, but you'll get the idea. Just thought I would share a quick hack that I just discovered for embossing. So I went into the bathroom and I tried to use my Amika blow dryer, which is what I always use for embossing, and it didn't seem like it was working. So I sort of just gave up on it. But then I thought, I wonder if I could just hold it over the gas burner. Obviously, like, not the best thing to do from a safety perspective. Also, I'm not sure how flammable this stuff is, but it seemed to be fine. Worked like a charm. Not recommended for the kids, but it did a great job. So you'll see once the camera focuses what a beautiful finish that it gets from just applying a little bit of heat to that embossing powder. So if I can get the camera set up properly, I'm going to try to show you on the other one how it works.
Okay, so I'm going to attempt to heat the embossing powder enough to get it to go from this sort of matte finish. I think this one did cure a little with the hair dryer, but it's nowhere near as shiny as this one. It's probably hard to catch it on camera, but so I'm just gonna put the burner on like medium, gas mark 5, as they'd say in the UK. And again, this is not at all recommended by the manufacturer, but it works. So just kind of hold it, I don't know, about 6 inches or so away. You're only going to be able to hold it so close because it's hot, obviously, and just sort of move it around in a circular motion. And it takes a few seconds. You can actually start to smell it, which probably does, you know, mean that it's flammable, but I just am not going to ever take up precious storage space with an embossing gun. So this is going to have to do the trick. Yeah, it's starting to work. It's getting much shinier. It's hard to see it on camera, I think, but it's getting very shiny and sort of raised. And once it starts to happen, it goes pretty quickly. I think it's pretty much done. Yeah, and you can tell just by kind of like looking at it in the light if there's any bits of powder that haven't been affected by the heat yet. But yeah, this is done. So burner off. Only took a couple of seconds and it's beautiful and shiny and reflective. Good morning, friends. It is now Saturday. I had a really delicious and indulgent meal last night. The lasagna and the pot de creme came out really delicious. And today I thought it would be fun, since it has been like a really wintry week here in New York City, to do a fun winter activity and like get out of the house. So I'm going up to Bryant Park to go skating. I haven't been skating in forever. I do have ice skates. I took them out and they're looking a little rusty, so probably just gonna rent skates up at the rink. You buy a ticket per hour, so you get an hour to whiz around and just enjoy the outdoors. It's a really beautiful sunny day, so I will bring you uptown with me and we can go skating in Bryant Park, and then that's pretty much going to be it for me for this weekend. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.